Good morning. It's another beautiful Wednesday morning, and we're glad that you could join us on a fresh edition of Corporate Governance Platform, brought to you by the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria, ICSAN. And let me remind you that ICSAN is a leading recognized professional body in Nigeria that's dedicated to enhancing the status and practice of corporate governance and public administration. Today on the program, we want to look at the importance of induction and continuing education of directors. Importance of induction and continuing education of directors. Our guest is right here in the studio, Mr. ADEBOLA BABATUNDE, FCIS, Vice Chairman, Lagos Chapter of ICSAN. He's also a member, Publicity and Advocacy Committee, a legal practitioner and governance advisor. Is Managing Associate, Great Chapel Legal. Good morning, Mr. Babatunde.
Good morning, madam.
All right, thank you for joining us on the show this morning. Also here, I have Mr. Ketefe, FCIS, Head of Research, ICSAN. Good morning, Mr. Ketefe.
Good morning, Fumi. Good morning to you, our guest, Mr. ADEBOLA BABATUNDE, FCIS, and all our listeners. Good morning.
Okay, we're going to take this message and we'll be right back.
The world is constantly evolving into a knowledge-based economy where skills and competencies constitute the lifeblood of public and corporate governance. You therefore need to empower yourself to fit into this new world by gaining basic knowledge and improving your skill set in the governance-focused disciplines. That is why every aspiring as well as practicing professional in governance field needs ICSAN.
ICSAN. What is ICSAN?
ICSAN is a leading statutorily established professional body dedicated to enhancing the status and practice of corporate governance and public administration. ICSAN members are trained as chartered secretaries and administrators.
Who are chartered secretaries and administrators?
Chartered secretaries are high-ranking governance professionals with a broad base of skills, unique amongst other professions. They are trained in law, finance, accounting, administration, strategy development, and corporate governance. In today's world, chartered secretaries and administrators discharge a wide range of duties and responsibilities, including functioning as chairmen of companies, executive directors, non-executive directors, company secretaries, risk managers, compliance managers, board evaluators, and corporate governance evaluators.
That is interesting. How then do I become a chartered secretary and administrator?
Good. Go to the Institute's website, www.icsan.org. You can also visit the National Secretariat of ICSAN at Plot 6, Elephant Cement Way, Alausa, Ikeja, Lagos, to get full information on how to become members. ICSAN, the hub of governance professionals.
All right, so Corporate Governance Platform right here, and we're looking at the importance of induction and continuing education of directors. Mr. Babatunde, let's begin this way. What does the term induction of directors connote?
Thank you. The term refers to the structured process of introducing newly appointed directors to their roles, their fiduciary responsibilities, and the company that they've been appointed to lead. This ensures that the newly appointed directors are adequately prepared to contribute effectively to the board's work.
Okay. Now, why does the code recommend that the induction of new directors should take place as soon as feasible after their appointment?
Yes, the code in Principle 13 provides that the board should establish a formal induction program for newly appointed directors. This should take place as soon as possible, and the purpose is to familiarize them with the company's workings, the strategic plan of the company, the operations, the business environment, the governance structure, and the director's fiduciary responsibilities.
All right, now let's look at, induction of directors and how it's different from continuous education of directors.
I would say the induction of directors is a one-time process.
Okay.
It is designed for newly appointed directors, and it is focused on equipping them with the fundamental knowledge required for them to fulfill their roles and meet the board's expectations. While, on the other hand, continuous education of directors is a continuous process aimed at updating directors' knowledge and skills to keep them and to make them remain effective in their roles. It keeps them informed about the new developments in the company's business environment and regulatory changes and industry trends.
Now, this continuous education, how do you think it should be done?
The code recommends that it should be conducted periodically. You will agree with me that the acronym VUCA, volatility, uncertainty, complexity, ambiguity, is what best describes this current business operating environment. As such, directors and business managers would need to keep pace with the VUCA operating environment. That's why the code recommends that it should be done periodically.
All right. There is another provision of the code that all directors should participate in periodic, relevant, continuing education programs to update their knowledge and skills and keep them informed of new developments in the company's business and operating environment. I want you to please tell us the relevance of this statement.
The statement is self-explanatory, and it highlights the importance of continuous and lifelong learning for the directors, so that they can remain effective in their roles.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's look at the link between board evaluation and development of the appropriate training for the board members.
Board evaluation is the process of assessing the strengths, the weakness, and obstacles to effectiveness of the board. It is not a witch hunting exercise for the directors, because that's what kept some directors, it keeps them on their toes. They will be wondering what the company intends to achieve with that.
Okay.
But I must say that the result of the assessment can serve as a guide in developing training program tailored to address the identified gaps of the directors. The principle 14 of the code supports this. The board is expected to undertake a formal, rigorous training annually to evaluate its own performance and that of the committees.
There is another provision of the code that training programs should be at the company's expense, but should not be such that puts undue strain on the company's finances. What would be the guiding principle in attaining equilibrium between these two ends?
I must first say that the company should be aware that training of the board is in a way a risk mitigation strategy for the company.
Okay.
As such, the guiding principle for cost effectiveness should be that the company should not compromise quality of the learning or the training. The company should focus on training programs that address knowledge gaps and identified during the board evaluation process. And then the company can also collaborate with industry associations or regulatory bodies to assess subsidized or free training that can help them. ICSAN does this. ICSAN provides training for companies regularly, and the company can also utilize in-house experts or some of the board members who are well knowledgeable with relevant experience to conduct those training sessions. The company can also leverage on training on online platforms.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, what advice do you have for companies and organizations on the issue of induction and continuous education of directors?
As I said earlier, the current business operating environment, which is characterized by VUCA, necessitates that the companies, the directors, the business managers, they need to keep pace with the operating environment. Companies should take it that the induction and continuous education of directors is a risk mitigation strategies to keep the company afloat. Board also should regularly self-assess to identify gaps that can keep them to effectively lead the company. And finally, I would say that companies should allocate sufficient resources for the training of the directors.
All right. Thank you so much. We're going to take this message and we'll be right back.
The world is constantly evolving into a knowledge-based economy where skills and competencies constitute the lifeblood of public and corporate governance. You therefore need to empower yourself to fit into this new world by gaining basic knowledge and improving your skill set in the governance-focused disciplines. That is why every aspiring as well as practicing professional in governance field needs ICSAN.
ICSAN. What is ICSAN?
ICSAN is a leading statutorily established professional body dedicated to enhancing the status and practice of corporate governance and public administration. ICSAN members are trained as chartered secretaries and administrators.
Who are chartered secretaries and administrators?
Chartered secretaries are high-ranking governance professionals with a broad base of skills, unique amongst other professions. They are trained in law, finance, accounting, administration, strategy development, and corporate governance. In today's world, chartered secretaries and administrators discharge a wide range of duties and responsibilities, including functioning as chairmen of companies, executive directors, non-executive directors, company secretaries, risk managers, compliance managers, board evaluators, and corporate governance evaluators.
That is interesting. How then do I become a chartered secretary and administrator?
Good. Go to the Institute's website, www.icsan.org. You can also visit the National Secretariat of ICSAN at Plot 6, Elephant Cement Way, Alausa, Ikeja, Lagos, to get full information on how to become members. ICSAN, the hub of governance professionals.
All right, Mr. Ketefe, let me come to you. What advice does the Institute have for firms and organizations who do not place due premium on training of directors?
Thank you very much, Fumi, for this very pertinent question. Let me start by saying that training, induction, and continuous training of directors is very, very essential requirement. Apart from the fact that non-adherence to the practice of induction and continuous training for director is a breach of the Nigeria Code of Corporate Governance 2018 and also aberrations of global best practices. Adherence also has its own inherent advantages. To start with, induction and continuous training has the effect of empowering the directors to discharge their duties more efficiently and more effectively. So it also helps them to avoid liability by knowing how to deal with situations as they arise and to avoid the breach of their duties as directors. As a matter of fact, some directors, like non-executive directors, they even require the initial induction before they can start to function properly on the board. So in a nutshell, I would say that the ICSAN is advising all companies and organizations to take the issue of directors' induction and training very seriously. Fortunately, our institute, ICSAN, offers training across all the gamut of topics and themes in corporate governance, just like our guest, Mr. ADEBOLA BABATUNDE FCIS, has mentioned. So it's remarkable that the training department of the institute has already acquired a reputation for providing top-notch training on diverse topics on corporate governance, including the topic we are speaking of today, the induction and continuous training of directors. So we have been providing excellent services on these two fronts. The front of periodic training being organized by the training department and the specially organized training that we organize for institutions and corporations that specifically request them. So we will continue to provide this training and want corporate entities to take advantage of them. For more information on ICSAN training, please contact Akudazi on 080-372-66853. For more information on ICSAN training, please contact Akudazi on 080-372-66853. Thank you for listening and have a pleasant day.
All right, you have a pleasant day as well. Most of a big thank you to you, Mr. Kadike FCIS, Head of Research, ICSAN, and in like manner, Mr. ADEBOLA BABATUNDE, FCIS, Vice Chairman, Lagos Chapter of ICSAN, Member, Publicity and Advocacy Committee, ICSAN, the Legal Practitioner and Governance Advisor, Managing Associate, Great Chapel Legal. It's been wonderful having you join us on the show this morning.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, that's how we'll wrap it up this morning on Corporate Governance Platform, brought to you by the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria, ICSAN. We'll return again next week, Wednesday, 10:15 a.m., when we'll bring you a fresh edition. I am Funmi Omoburiu. Enjoy the rest of the day.